The Cursed, Part 3. The Curse of Carnage. Still in the murky depths of Dallas, Texas underbelly, the ancient evil had been awakened. The city, once a hub of vivacity and prosperity, now found itself plunged into darkness and despair. The creature known as the Cursed had come to claim the souls of those who had wronged others, leaving a trail of gruesome death and carnage in his wake. The Curse, also known as Death himself, was no ordinary being. He was an amalgamation of pure evil, a grotesque abomination forged in the pits of hell. A long-lost myth among the people, he was now a horrifying reality. He had returned, and he was hungry for retribution. It all began with the mysterious disappearance of Frank Thompson, a once prominent lawyer who had been accused of multiple cases of fraud and deception. His clients, now destitute and helpless, cursed his very existence. The curse had been heard, and the curse had been summoned. Frank, you have been judged, and you are cursed. Frank's last moment was spent in sheer terror. The curse appeared before him, a monstrous entity of darkness and death. His grotesque form was a nauseating blend of twisted limbs, distorted faces, and ever-shifting shape. The lawyer's scream echoed through the night. "No, not me, please!" as the curse devoured him whole, his mangled remains oozing and twisting as they were dragged into the depths of hell. But Frank was just the beginning. The cursed's hunger for evil soul grew insatiable, and he was relentless in his pursuit. With every subsequent victim, the deaths became more gruesome, more blood-curdling, and the city of Dallas was quickly consumed by an all-encompassing terror. One such victim was Paula Finch, a conniving entrepreneur who had swindled countless investors out of their life savings. In her luxurious penthouse, she sat comfortably, believing herself untouchable. The curse had other plans. As night fell, the malevolent creature slipped through the shadows, invading the sanctity. Paula's eyes widened in terror as the beast revealed itself. "You have been judged, and you are cursed." The curse wasted no time, violently tearing her apart, limb from limb. Her lifeless eyes stared in eternal fear, her blood pouring on the floor as her entrails slithered across the floor like serpents. The curse feasted upon her remains, his twisted, jagged teeth tearing through flesh and bone, before dragging her mutilated soul to the depths of hell. The news of Paula's grisly death sent a shockwave through the city. Fear, once a distant concept, now gripped the very hearts of its citizens. They locked their doors, closed their curtains, and whispered prayers to any deity that would listen. They hoped against hope that they would not be next on the curse's deathly list. Yet the creature's insatiable appetite for wicked souls knew no bounds. As more individuals who had wronged others met their grisly fate, the streets of Dallas became a desolate wasteland, riddled with fear and paranoia. One such evening, as a shadowy moon cast a sinister glow upon the city, the terrified populace huddled in their homes, praying for the nightmare to end. But the cursed had other plans. He had set his sights on the next victim, Dr. Martin Cole, a man who had once been a respected surgeon, now revealed as a twisted, sadistic monster who had deliberately inflicted harm upon his vulnerable patients. The cursed appeared before the doctor in his office, his shape-shifting form a living embodiment of horror. The doctor's blood-red coals of the curse's eyes locked onto his, a seething rage burning within them. You have been judged, and you are cursed. In that instant, Dr. Cole knew his time had come, and he stood paralyzed, a chilling scream lodged in his throat. No, please. The curse lunged at him with ferocious speed, its jagged claws slashing through the air. It tore the doctor's flesh apart, ripping open his abdomen and sending his organs spilling on the floor. Blood spattered the walls, painting a gruesome scene that would forever haunt the memories of any who dared enter. As Dr. Cole's life ebbed away, the curse reveled in his torment. The wretched doctor's soul was wrenched from his body, a final scream escaping his lips as he was dragged into hell's infernal abyss. No, please. The city of Dallas remained on edge, forever scarred by the harrowing events that had unfolded. The curse continued his savage carnage, seeking out the most vile and corrupt souls. The creature's horrifying presence was a constant reminder that no sin would go unpunished, and no evildoer would escape his wrath. As the days turned into weeks, the city's residents could only watch in horror as the cursed list of victims grew, each death more grotesque and brutal than the last. The once thriving metropolis became a ghost town, its streets devoid of life, its people prisoners in their own homes. One by one, the wicked souls of Dallas were consumed by the cursed, the remains defiled and desecrated in a bloody spectacle that left no doubt as the monster's true power. It was as if the very air had been poisoned with dread. The once vibrant city, now a breeding ground for fear and despair. Desperate pleas for help went unanswered, the world seemingly deaf to the cries of the terror-stricken city. It was as if Dallas had been forsaken, left to the mercy of the insatiable beast that stalked its streets. And so, the curse continued his rampage, devouring the souls of the wicked and dragging them to the fiery depths of hell. The curse would not be broken. The city would not be free until every last evildoer had been claimed. As the creature moved through the darkened streets of Dallas, his twisted form casting monstrous shadows, he could sense the fear that permeated every corner of the city. It fueled his insatiable hunger, driving him to seek out his next victim. The hunt would continue, the carnage would not cease, and the souls of the damned would continue to fuel his eternal quest for retribution. For in this grim and grisly tale, Death himself had come to claim the wicked, and he would not rest until the city of Dallas was plunged and purged of its evil. The cursed's blood-soaked reign of terror would persist, an unyielding reminder that there was no escape from the monster that walked among them. And as the shadows stretched and the darkness deepened, the gruesome legacy of the curse would forever haunt the streets of Dallas, a chilling testament to the horrifying power of an ancient and malevolent curse.
You have been judged, and you are cursed. So many wicked people in Dallas who deserve to die and be sucked down into the dark abyss of hell. Dallas is a better place now thanks to the curse.